Hello, welcome to another Purple Insider Extra. Matthew Coller here, along with Sam Ekstrom. If you want more, make sure you go listen to the podcast. Just type in Purple Insider wherever you get your podcasts, and you can read our written work as well at purpleinsider.substack.com. Sam, question for you. Do you believe that Vikings fans are relieved today learning that J.J. Watt is signing with the Arizona Cardinals and not the much rumored Green Bay Packers?
I'm not totally shocked by it. I didn't know how that was going to work out financially for Green Bay anyway, even if they do cut loose Preston Smith. But I do think they should be relieved that this isn't happening, because I look back at the last three Vikings losses to Green Bay, right? And I looked at the pressures that were allowed. It was like in 2019, it was Dakota Dozier and Garrett Bradbury combining for 11 allowed. Or it was week 16 last year when the interior line allowed 12, or it was Pat Elflein allowing 5 earlier this year. The guards and centers have gotten crushed by Green Bay. The interior pressure has been excellent in those games for the Packers. Do the Vikings want to add J.J. Watt to that mix? I don't think so until they bolster that interior line, particularly the guard spots. I don't think I would want to go up against J.J. Watt, who is rumored to be potentially moving inside at a later portion of his career. I think that's realistic to think that he wouldn't be just edge. He'd be playing some tackle as well. And I don't want him trying to exploit Dakota Dozier or some semblance of that person.
Yeah, no, you're right that they should feel very relieved that he's not going to play against the Vikings twice a year. There is another side to this, though. He stayed in the NFC, and I look at the Arizona Cardinals as a team that the Vikings are going to be going up against for playoff spots. I mean, if we're just trying to project right now, we're a far way away from the season. But last year, as they were going down the stretch, here's Arizona, here's Minnesota, and I don't think it's a huge win for the Vikings that he's going to stay in the NFC. He could also play a couple of more years. I mean, he didn't look to me like he was Reggie White playing with the Carolina Panthers in the very last year of his career going to Arizona here. He looks like a guy who could be effective for a couple of more seasons, and Arizona suddenly becomes kind of a destination with DeAndre Hopkins there and Kyler Murray growing as a young quarterback on a rookie contract, and now J.J. Watt being added to the mix. So it's not a complete victory, but I was thinking about what would it look like with Kenny Clark, J.J. Watt, Zadarius Smith, all coming after Kirk Cousins on third down and long. That is not a scenario that you necessarily wanted, but I also wouldn't count it out for a future playoff game that they end up seeing J.J. Watt. So maybe it's not a huge L for the Vikings to see Watt go to Green Bay, but I don't think it's also the most perfect destination for the Vikings.
Well, they do play Arizona this year too. So that head-to-head matchup still might happen. And I think Arizona, they were the team on the rise during that Hail Mary game, right? Where Murray connected with Hopkins, and then things kind of fell apart late for them. And the Vikings, had jumped them in the playoff race, and it looked like it was going to be down between the Vikings and the Cardinals, and then the Bears kind of jumped in randomly and got that spot. But no, Arizona is kind of on the up right now. And they've got, I think, the offensive pieces to be a really good team. And now they've got a huge piece bolstering their defense. So I'm already, going to circle that game on the schedule once we get it to see when the Vikings go to Arizona and whether or not my boss, Matthew Coller, will pay for the trip down there.
Well, I think there's another part of this too. Arizona, yes. I also saw that the potential 17th game for the Vikings would be in LA. Another yes for travel purposes for Purple Insider. But there could be a little Viking fan jealousy when it comes to Watt signing with Arizona because they do have the quarterback on the rookie contract. And this is something we talk about all the time when it comes to the Vikings and what they can afford and how much they can improve their roster. If you compared Kyler Murray and Kirk Cousins for next year, who do you think is going to be the better quarterback? Maybe you can make an argument that they're about even if you don't think Murray's going to be an elite quarterback, but one of them is massively cheaper than the other one, and you can afford to trade for DeAndre Hopkins. You can afford to add J.J. Watt to your roster. So when people are talking about potentially trading Kirk Cousins or moving on from his contract, I think that this situation is one of the reasons why.
Yeah, the Vikings aren't going to have money to play around with, this year or probably next year unless they get rid of that money. You look at teams that are able to cash in on those young rookie quarterback contracts, and sometimes it doesn't work. Like for the Chicago Bears, they tried to create this incredible defense around Mitch Trubisky, and he just didn't offer them a lot, and things didn't work out. But look what happened with the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson. Year 2 of his run, they've got the best defense in football, and they sort of sustained that, for the years where he was under that rookie deal. Then his contract got bloated and they weren't able to invest as much. That's sort of the cycle you go in is, with the Ravens right now, they're able to put so much around Lamar Jackson. The Chiefs up until this year had put a lot around Patrick Mahomes. That's just the way it works. So if you hit on that rookie quarterback, you can have some fun. Suddenly you've got like this monopoly money and you can just, let it fly in free agency. And the Vikings really haven't been in that position now for half a decade. Since 2014 is the last time I can recall them really kind of having fun in the free agency market.
No, you're right. And what is nice, though, is we get our first big move here. We got a trade of Matt Stafford a few weeks ago, and then everything kind of went dark a little bit. And now we get our first big free agency signing. Of course, all of the signings will come within about a month. But I think this offseason is going to be incredible, Sam. So we will look forward to it, and we will cover it all on Purple Insider. This has been a Purple Insider Extra.